Welcome people of the World Wide Web, Selfish Sigma here in another midweek video. So it's look what I have been watching and what have I been watching. It's all of this stuff, so I've had quite a lot. Unfortunately I injured my back last week, so yeah, had a few days not really where I could work or do a lot. So unfortunately, well, not fortunately, kind of, I managed to get through a load of DVDs and Blu-rays and stuff like I had, so it's good. So let's get into it. So the first one is Loops Groundus. Or Garrus. So yeah, this is a interesting one. This is what I bought, one of the ones I bought with when I went to see the lads in London. And yeah, this is a standalone movie as far as I can tell. It's basically about a set of kids. They kind of get together in a virtual world, and unfortunately someone in the real world goes around killing a lot of these kids, and it's down to kind of the kids that end up stopping them. So it was alright for the most part. I said it has a few dark twists and turns. The cover kind of gives away a little bit, but not unless you've not seen it. So it was worth a watch. I may revisit it at a later date, but so I think it only cost me like £3 stats. Then obviously if you've seen previous videos, my wife has bought me a lot of DC stuff, so I've started to get for that. So first up was Superman Red Sun. So this is where Superman would basically land in Russia rather than in Kansas, and how he would grow up. And yeah, it's a very interesting and different take on the story. Obviously you meet a different style of Batman. Obviously all the major characters are kind of there. Obviously there are Brainiac and other ones, and it just show you a different aspect of how Superman would try and be the hero, or not necessarily hero, of how he would try and change the world, but from a different upbringing and stuff. But yeah, I really like this. I've seen this before, but still really good and glad to have it in the collection. Obviously then we go on the other Batman is Hush. So I thought this one was alright, kind of good. They do change the story from the books, and I do believe I have the book. So there we go. So that is the book. So as you see, exact same title except for the story, and this is slightly changed to here. Bear with me while I'm not as mobile as I would be getting old. But yeah, it was a good story. I would have liked the ending to match the comics in my eyes, because obviously that's where it comes from. But I can see what they did. It was alright. You do get to meet a lot of other characters in there. They, like as I say, they do try to throw as many of the superheroes and villains in there and stuff. And yeah, it all works well. I say I liked it. It's enjoyable. An hour and a half. You know, DC do a very good animated movies. Then we go on to the next one. So Now Is Good. This is Dakota Fanning. Unfortunately, she has cancer, and decided that, you know, it is that's it. She has had the chemotherapy, or she's had the certain stuff, and it hasn't worked. So it's her basically coming to grips with that she will die, and kind of the relationship she meets and how she deals with her family and that, because her family have split up because her mum can't kind of deal with it, and her dad's too overbearing and stuff. And it's kind of a list of what she wants to do and her friends and everything. And it's an alright. It's a very sadish film, because obviously the whole subject matter, but yeah, it isn't too bad on the grand scheme of things that I liked. It even. The next one I introduced my wife to, Benny and June. So this is a very old Johnny Depp film, as you can see there, that he is kind of a oddball kind of magician, street performer person, but not. And he meets Benny here, and this is his sister June, and unfortunately June has a few issues, and it is kind of how the relationship between these two kind of evolves and stuff, and just the whole of how June affects the people around her and stuff. And it is very good. It is, I wouldn't say it necessarily realistic, but there is a lot of twists and turns, and it is a good film. Very early to see Johnny Depp in a role that, you know, we're not necessarily used to him. Then a freebie I got from HMV, taking me ages to watch. Unfortunately, as you can see, look, it came brand new from HMV, but the plastic on this is distorted somehow. I have no idea when someone's kept that wrong thing. So anyway, this is X. This was the big rave about. This is the kind of guy. Basically, it's a group of people filming a porno on a farm, and the owners of the farm find out what they're doing and end up trying to kill them all. There are a lot of actually famous people in this. There is, I think her name's Brie something from Brittany Snow. She's from Picture Perfect, probably known. Mia Goth, I've not really known her anything. There is Martin Hudson, who is from Talk and Virgin River even, and Jenny Ortega, as we know from Wednesday now. So a lot of famous people in this. But to be honest, it was no different from me to be a very low budget horror film. It didn't strike any excitement with me. What, you know, I say I may revisit at some point. There is a bit of foreshadowing here and there, which I do like, but it's nothing different. I will get Pearl to see obviously Mia Goth playing Pearl from she's younger and see maybe that might excite it. But who knows? I say yeah, but it's not. I'm not singing its praise at the minute. It wasn't selling me on this whole journey. But you know, I say there's nothing different. But all it was nothing different to me, from my opinion. So the next one is The Spy Dumped Me. This is one I bought cheap from HMV. I didn't think much to it. I didn't think much it was going to be much, but actually I quite enjoyed it. It is a very twist and turny one. I do like Mila Kunis. Kate McKinnon, I did like her in Ghostbusters. I know a lot of people hate that movie. I've not really watched Saturday Night Live. For her, she's very hit and miss. I did quite like the relationship of these two and how they went on and the whole spy thing and that. And I thought it was done quite well. I did enjoy it. It was a nice kind of silly comedy that you could switch your brain off and have some fun with. So yeah, so I do really like that. One of my wife's favourite films, Leap Year. Obviously, this is where Amy Adams wants to propose to her partner, so she goes to Ireland and believes on the 29th of February in Ireland, the woman can propose to the man, and along the way she meets this gentleman who helps get her to Ireland, and then a blossoming relationship occurs between these two, and then she has the moral dilemma of what to do at the end of it. It's silly, funny, rom-com. I liked it. I say it's a very different kind of theory that takes in, there's a few ups and downs, but I think it works quite good. It's quite nice to see a bit of Dublin and the landscape. One I've had in my collection donkey's years. So as you can kind of see, there's an outline of sticker. This came from Choices, which doesn't exist anymore, which was a DVD rental place back in the day. It went before Blockbuster went, and this was one I got really cheap from here, Strings. So this is basically you have a ruled-in nation of people. They can see the strings. They are all puppets. Everything is done by puppeteers. And the one that goes into the head, they believe, is their lifeline. The rest of them are there. So all the buildings don't have roofs and that. And they incorporate a lot of stuff into that none of it. And it is basically the king kills himself. Unfortunately, his brother hides the fact that he killed himself and tries to take over the kingdom by staging that he was assassinated. His son then goes on a revenge journey, and during that revenge journey he realises that obviously his uncle has double-crossed him. But it is very good. Obviously, the puppets know they're puppets. They know they're attached by string, and that limits how they move, and that is, you know, and they use that in like the jail and a few other bits of how they restrict them with stuff. And I thought that was really, really good. You know, you look at the work list. God knows what it would have taken to orchestrate this with all the different puppets sometimes and stuff, and the scenes. It was, you know, it's very good with its conceptualization, if that's even a word, and you know how they execute it is really good. You know, it is probably a bit niche because I don't know how many people want to sit there and watch puppets and stuff, but how they're all worked and that is amazing. Like it, you know, the behind the scenes and stuff of this. You know, there is a 60-minute that I haven't watched, but I've seen little bits of it within on the trailer of kind of the making of and stuff like that. And yeah, just seeing all the people in the rain and stuff like that. There's a lot of people refused to work on this because of the skill level involved with it. But I say I still liked it. It's taken me years and years to watch this, at least 10 that I've had that in the collection. So then we have this one. So Matt gave me this one, Ladder 49. It is about Joaquin Phoenix. He becomes a fireman and how he integrates into the 49th Department of the Fire Force and things they go through. And it is very interesting that how they split the story of that they go to a big fire and unfortunately stuff goes wrong and Joaquin Phoenix gets trapped, and then the story retails kind of his life in the fire department as it goes on, as he's kind of unconscious and coming round, and will they save him? And there are a few twists and turns that you don't see coming in this. I really like this. To say, it's not your usual kind of fire department one. There are a lot of twists and turns and how the story's set up, but I think it works really well. And from what I've seen online and stuff, it is quite a factual account of what firemen go through, and to see that side of it, you know, there is a lot of grim and darkness that they have to deal with. So, you know, if anything, come away with a big appreciation for firefighters and stuff. Down to the last two, so you've seen this mentioned a few times. So this is Cash Earn. Finally got around to a copy that I could watch. And yeah, this is potentially, if not the first film that is more or less mostly set on background. So I think this was released the same year as Sky Captain World of Tomorrow, which has the same technology involved. There are a few scenes that don't have, but most of it is CG background. There are big stories, you know, there are twists and turns, and it is kind of a very flamboyant story. I think it could have been, there are a few bits that it very speeds through, and kind of the story doesn't lead where you expect it to lead it, but there are some good martial art type stuff, and some kind of comic book style worked into this, and it's definitely a good watch. It's very hit and miss. If you like this sort of thing, you know, if you watch the trailer and quite like it, I think you will like the movie. If you're not 100% sold by the trailer, then this probably isn't for you. And then the final one, so no star thing of that, is American Hustle, and it is basically about a con man who gets linked in with the FBI, played by, so we have Batman himself, if I can remember his name, Christian Bale. So he plays kind of a store owner who does a bit of dodgy dealings. His wife Jennifer Lawrence kind of stays at home, and he gets involved with Amy Adams. Amy Adams kind of helps him, you know, scam people out of money, and the FBI, played by the main thing by Bradley Cooper, con onto it and basically get him working for them to try and get a load of other people in so they could get loads of money in that. That's obviously Jeremy Renner. He's an official and he gets pulled into this, and it's all kind of a hustle is going on. There are quite a few twists and turns, and it doesn't necessarily end the way you would expect, but it's still quite good. Quite a long movie in that, and it, you know, takes a lot of concentration. But yeah. So that is it. That is what I've been watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this week's instalment. I know it's a little bit longer than normal because there's a lot there, but have you seen any of the titles below? Would you recommend them? Otherwise, like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff, and I shall see you in the next one.